So I've been wanting to make YouTube videos probably since I discovered YouTube. And then when I discovered Booktube a few years ago, I thought, great, this is what I'm going to do. This is my claim to fame, books and YouTube. I can do this. But I never started one. And then this year, I wrote in my bullet journal that one of my goals was to start a YouTube channel. And I recently joined the library again and started watching Ariel Bassett, who I had kind of stopped watching for a while. And as I was creating this Instagram account and a Twitter account, there we go, I found out about Booktube-a-thon, which is something that I hadn't heard about before because I guess I just wasn't watching Booktube last year when it happened, or the year before, or the year before. And it starts in 2 weeks, and I thought, great, what better time than to start a Booktube account now. The reason why I haven't started yet is because I don't know how to start. I've been looking for a video idea to kind of push myself out into Booktube. And then Ariel Bassett posted a video about Booktube-a-thon, which is coming up in 2 weeks. And she posted a video on the Booktube-a-thon account explaining the reading challenges for this year, and said that if you make a TBR video for Booktube-a-thon this year and post the link in the comments of the original video, then you go in the draw to win a box of books, which would be great. And I so would love that. So I set up my TBR, and this is what I'm going to be showing you in this video. So as I said, Ariel Bassett made a video explaining the reading challenges. There's 7 for the week, and each of them can be a different book, or you can find some books that meet multiple challenges. The final challenge is to read 7 books, which is super hard, but I think I've found a way around that because she did say that everything counts. Audiobooks, graphic novels, and so I took that also to mean plays and poem anthologies. So without further ado, this is my TBR list for Booktube-a-thon 2017. The first criteria is to read a book with a person on the cover. Now, most of the books that I've chosen fulfill this criteria, but I really want to try and get 7 books down in this week, so I decided to have a book for every single category. Now, the book I chose for category 1 is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I have been hearing about this book for years, probably since it came out. I don't know how old it is, but ever since I started looking on Bookstagram, I guess, as it's called, and Booktube a few years ago, everyone was talking about this series, and it just sounds like a bit of fun, and exactly the type of YA thing I need, especially because Booktube-a-thon starts in the week that uni goes back. So I thought this would be a really good one to start out the week and also have a little bit of fun with. Second criteria is to read a hyped book. Now again, I guess that To All the Boys I've Loved Before could fulfill this criteria, but as I said before, I want to have a different book for each criteria. So for this one, I chose Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. I haven't read any Rainbow Rowell, and I know that everyone always talks about Eleanor and Park as being the one that you should start with, or the one that people started talking about first. I don't know if it was her first book, and that's why, but they didn't have it at the library. Or they did, but a whole bunch of people reserved it and there was no way that I was going to be able to get it in time. So I chose Fangirl. I'm super excited about this book, and I'm also really excited to be able to read Carry On after this challenge, because as I understand, Carry On is the fan fiction that she writes, that the character writes in this book, but I don't quite know. But either way, I'm excited to read this and then hopefully fall in love with Rainbow Rowell and continue reading the rest of her books. So the rest of the books that I've chosen for this week are poems or short stories or plays, so I could probably read 1 in a day or even 2 in a day if I really tried, but the next criteria is read a book in a day, and as I said before, I really want to try and read 7 books, so I've got a book for each category. For this one, I have Black Rock by Nick Enright, which is a play set in Australia. I don't really know anything else about it except that it's very teen angsty, there's a lot of drugs, and it deals with the rape of this girl after a party, I think, and my mum's been trying to get me to read it for years and years, and we already had it, obviously, because my mum loves it so much, and so this is what I've got for challenge 3. Category 4 is to read a book about a character that's completely different to you. Now, everyone has been talking about the book The Hate You Give at the moment, and I really wanted to try and read that because it sounds amazing and the cover looks beautiful, but they had only one copy at the City Library and I had 17 reservations, which means I was definitely not going to get it in time for this challenge. So I chose the script of a play that I saw last year for my drama class and I had to study. It's called I Call My Brothers, so it's about a Muslim man called, what is his name? Amor. And I can't exactly remember what happens, but it's really interesting because the whole play is set in one day as this whole kind of kerfuffle, I guess, is going down in the city around him, and it's really interesting and I love the play. I thought it was amazing, so I'm really excited to kind of look at the script more in depth. As I said earlier, Booktube-a-thon starts the week that I start back for second semester uni, so I'll be starting having lunch breaks again, and I really want to try and get outside more because it's such nice weather recently, which is great because challenge number 5 is to read a book completely outside. For this one, I chose Tell Me the Truth About Love by W.H. Auden, which is just a really small book of just 10 poems by him, so I don't know if it probably counts as a book, but I'm taking it because Ariel Bassett said that anything counts, and I thought this would be a really beautiful little thing to just read outside on my lunch breaks in the sun or under a tree. Challenge number 6 is to read a book that you bought just for the cover. Now, the book that I'm really hoping to read as my 7th book also fulfills this, but because I don't think I'll get around to it, I put that as number 7, just as my last. So for this, I chose Rapture by Suzanne Vargo, which is a selection of poems, and it's really interesting. It's about her recovering from having a stroke, I think, and I picked this up at uni not too long ago, and I have read a few of the poems in there, but I just kind of skim read them when I first bought them, and it sounds really cool. It's contemporary poetry, and I'm really excited to read this. I probably will read this all outside as well, just because I feel like poetry and reading outside go perfectly well together, especially at such a nice time of year. So I'm really excited to read more poetry this week, but also to get into this book. The final challenge, as I said before, is the same every year, and that's to read 7 books. So far that's 6, and I really don't know if I'll get around to reading 7, just because To All the Boys I've Loved Before and Fangirl are actual proper books, but because the others are so short, maybe there is a chance that I will finish everything. So if I do, I want to read, or at least start, The Shell Collector by Anthony Doerr. Now, this is a beautiful cover as well, and that's why it kind of fulfills the criteria of challenge number 6 as well. I bought this not too long ago because he is the writer of All the Light We Cannot See, and another one which I can't remember at the moment, and oh, here it is, About Grace, sorry, it was on the back. And I've been wanting to read All the Light We Cannot See for ages, but I don't have the book. I think my friend has it, and I'll probably borrow it off her. I always see it and nearly buy it, but never do. So I thought that this would be a really good start to his writing, because it's just a short collection of stories and it looks really interesting and really beautiful. So that's my TBR for Booktube-a-thon 2017. I'm super excited, and I'll be making daily videos with the video challenges. I think they come out and they tell you, I don't know, obviously I'm new to this, I don't know exactly how it works, but I probably will still be making daily videos, just updating you on what I'm reading, how far I've gotten through, and other challenges related to Booktube-a-thon.